Welcome back, guys. Today's episode, a good friend of mine, Miss Summer Dean. Summer's got an album out, released last month, and just straight country tunes. And it was a pleasure to sit down with her. It's been really cool to get to know her over this last year. We met back in Creede, Colorado, back in the spring, and just kind of hit it off. It was truly a pleasure to have my friend on the show, and we talked about everything from life to music, songwriting. So if y'all get a chance, go check out her new album. It's titled Bad Romantic, and hope you enjoy the show, and until next time, stay grateful. This episode is brought to you by Morris Stock Dogs, where champions are bred. For training tips, puppies for sale, or more information, check out morrisstockdogs.com. The Converse Cowboy Journey has given me an opportunity to sit down with some amazing performers from all walks of life, where it is my job to tease out their habits and routines so that you can apply and test in your own life. I've learned, I've grown personally, I've been enlightened, and I've been humbled. Above all, I've realized there is no destination in this life, no goal achieved, or money made that can replace the feeling of flow and the pursuit of doing what you truly love to do. With a growth mindset, I'm constantly asking questions and pursuing knowledge. The Converse Cowboy is a platform that allows me to do just that. I'm excited and eager to share their stories with you all. I'm Mike Roberts, and this is the Converse Cowboy. Brought to you by Kerry Kelley-Bitsspurs and Schaefer Outfitter. So I'm curious to know about the whole songwriting thing, and instead of just asking the generic, what is your inspiration, I want to dig in a little bit deeper. So like for young songwriters that may be out there, what is the most common mistake that you see young songwriters making?
It's hard to say that because as soon as I come up with what I think it could be a mistake, there's a way that it somehow works sometimes. But so there, to preface an answer to that, I could say something that can be complete. I could probably talk myself out of my answer pretty quickly. Yeah. But something I like is, or something I practice in my songwriting that I think has gotten me better at it, is that instead of telling this whole story. Now, this is just me too. Like, some story songs are awesome. I really enjoy freezing one tiny moment and getting all the way into that moment and all the little things that create this vibe and this tiny moment, and write about the simplicity of the tiny moment. I enjoy that, and I think that's kind of hard to do. Willie Nelson is the master of it, of creating this one tiny moment and just keep this such a simple and profound lyric. And I sometimes I think we can get a little too obvious in our songwriting, but then again, sometimes the obvious thing is what makes it perfect. So there's no one answer to that, I think, but it's always wise if I were talking to a beginning songwriter, which feels weird for me to even talk about because I still try to get better all the time, and I feel like a beginning songwriter, but is that you can really get a lot written in your rewrite. So I think it's really good. You don't have to try to write the perfect lyrics first, just get it out. And then in your rewrite, really form your song. Right. And I think the more you do that, you might get better at your first write, being more of what you want to say. But like a good example of making it simple, and You're Lucky She's Lonely, we've talked about this before, but I really wanted I had a whole nother verse written about that girl. And I remember it, and she walks into the place, and it was if the lights came on, and I was trying to really set her up as to be usually untouchable. Like, this chick's a badass, and you would never normally get a minute in her direction, but tonight you might, because she's hurting so bad. And so instead of this whole verse building her up, I thought, how can I just, this is too much. Like, I'm setting it up too much. Right. So I just gave her a Wayland tattoo, and I thought, that's it. She's over there looking awesome, and she's got this Wayland tattoo, and I thought, automatically, I think that she's seen something. She knows something. She ain't easily fallen,
Right.
So I think that little editing, I think that's good for songwriters to do. And then there's little internal rhymes and internal phrasing that you can do from line to line that I think can really bulk up your songwriting. But God, there's not one way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are formulas to different kinds of music, verse, chorus, tag out kind of a thing.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you have to follow the rules ever.
But then again, you have to.
But I do think I think the more studied you are at how the flow works, you can change your flow.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree. To anything, not saying like I have any respect to songwriting. I'm just saying in any field, anything you do, I think that applies, What are you doing though? Are you sitting down with pen paper? Are you?
I've kind of started changing. I always got a pen and paper there. I've started typing it out now. And so just to get quite literal, like I'll just brainstorm, I'll just type ideas. Just type. And then when I start finding the flow or here's what I'm going to write about, then I'll literally make 2 columns, and here's an idea column, and here's where I'm just kind of pulling it together. And then I'll be like, oh wait, this verse doesn't make sense. I'll make this the second verse, and now I need to write a first verse. And so mine's like a puzzle. I just kind of puke it all out. And then I put the pieces together and try to form a song.
What I thought was interesting was one evening you were letting me listen to some of the recordings that you had, just like you may be just driving down the road or like in your backyard. And I thought that was so cool, and I thought I was the only one that like did shit like that.
Yeah, and your voice, your voice memos, and sometimes it's like da na 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 na, and that's all it is. But and that's save that, because somebody, you may think of a lyric one day, be like, oh, that fits that melody I thought of that day, and then there's some songs on my first album, Unladylike, and in my phone that you can hear the shower going in the background, because I was thinking in the shower and thought, oh, that's good. I just watched that Guy Clark documentary, and he said he was driving down the road and thought, man, if I could just get off of this LA freeway without ever getting killed or caught. He's like, that's good. And he wrote that down. And geez, dude.
Hello.
Yeah. So, write down any spark that you have. I mean, sometimes they're crap.
How do you know when to give up on a song, or maybe when like to shelf it and move on to something else?
Oh, I think you can feel when you're forcing it. It's like I think it's just kind of make sure and stay aware. Like and it may be just go walk around the block and come back, or it may be like, nah, I'll write this another time. But I know there's songs right now in my head that are going to be important songs for me to write, and I have them in my head, but for some reason I can't tap all the way into it yet. One day maybe I will.
A question that just came into mind is like, who do you write for? Are you writing for Summer Dean? Are you writing for your fans to give them the country music that they know Summer Dean produces? Like, who do you write for?
Sometimes I'm writing for me. I get tired of writing about myself, so sometimes I'll turn that tiny part of myself into a character and just kind of pivot off that, and then sometimes I want to write a song that's just going to fill the dance floor. It's like, I know when this shuffle gets up, they're going to hear that beat and dance. Sometimes I'll write about that, and it's always different. It's going to come from somewhere inside me, though. Yeah. I've got to connect to it somehow.
Sure.
But I think there's little versions of myself in there, and I'll find this one little version and blow it up and make that. I'll even find, a masculine quality and write as if I were a guy somehow. I did that the other day about a guy writing about his grandpa. And I wrote it with masculine pronouns and everything. So I guess, I don't know how I'm ever going to record that one. But I
John
wrote
Prine
it.
did it.
Yeah.
As a female.
I guess I can do that. Who knows?
Yeah. So are you already doing that? Are you already writing for your next album?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I want to have about 40 or so songs ready by the new year and be able to cull that down into an album and start recording, in the winter.
Yeah.
Late winter.
Do you ever feel, as a writer, like, do you ever feel the resistance? Do you feel like the fear of not being able to produce something that all writers talk about, like this writer's block? Does that ever come up, and how do you overcome that?
Yeah. I think I just kind of start, I schedule a co-write with somebody, or kind of force myself to get into something, help somebody else write one of their songs.
Yeah.
Kind of gets those juices back going, you know? They say you can't force it, but you can find it, you know? Maybe you're just writing the wrong thing. You know, you got to do what works for you. People talk about authenticity and what you're doing a lot. And I think that's when you really find something, is when you find what you do well, then people are going to hear that, and they're going to feel that. So just kind of fall into what you're doing well, instead of, oh, I really want to write these kinds of songs. If that's not what naturally comes out of you, then don't try to do that. Find what you do and do that really well. And maybe it's not even what you thought you were going to do, but if you double down on the cards that are dealt to you, you're going to play a way better game.
Yeah,
you know?
I love that. Don't force it, find it. And I know there's people listening to this right now, or whenever this comes out, and they're saying, well, shit, that's great advice, but how do I find it?
Yeah.
What would your advice be to that?
Awareness. Even when you're stuck, like, how do I feel being stuck? What am I stuck on? Why am I stuck? Like, sometimes I'm concentrating on trying to make one thing rhyme. When I'm like, God, instead of doing this, let me go back, and maybe this first verse is wrong. You know, maybe, and so I'm trying to end this verse the right way, and it's not working. So instead of just trying to force something in that hole that doesn't fit, go back and change your hole, you know, and then it just kind of falls into place. So, like, I guess that's what I mean. If you're aware and if you're stuck, just get yourself out of where you are and readjust something. And you're not married to any of your lyrics. You can change any of them at any time. So I do that. I do that a whole lot. I'll try to make this one thing rhyme. I'm like, well, then maybe what do I really want to say? And I'll just go back and change the whole thing.
Yeah.
And fine. Then I'll save that. If I like it, I'll save it over to the other side, my idea side, you know, and steal it from myself later, you know. And it doesn't have to fit. I mean, don't have to force it. Just readjust it.
Recalibrate.
Do what you do. Do what naturally comes out of you. And I think people will like that. A lot of people say, oh, I don't really like country music, but I really like listening and going to your show. And I love that compliment, because I know that what I'm doing is straightforward country music, but that means that they related to it somehow, and which means I authentically got that to them. Mm-hmm. And I've been thinking about that a lot, because it's been coming up a lot in interviews about the album, and I think that's when you can feel like you're doing a really good job, is when, or you found your pace a little bit, is when you're when what you're doing is what comes natural, you know. If
Feels
you're forcing,
good, right?
Yeah. If you're forcing it, then keep adjusting.
Yeah.
Go backwards a little bit, you know.
I think we always know, like, that intuition that kind of guides us. Mm-hmm. I struggle with that at times, like,
I think we all
staying
do.
on course with it. Mm-hmm. You get distracted.
Yeah, you just gotta be aware
rabbits.
of your gut a little bit, and kind of think, am I just nervous about this, or is this wrong? It's hard to know that sometimes.
Yeah.
Am I just anxious, or is this not right? But I think, you know, I think a lot of songwriters are pretty aware of how they're feeling about something, and I think that helps navigate where to go.
Well, you said it earlier, like having those instincts, whether you're on stage or you're songwriting. I had Daniel Donato on the show not long ago, and he talks about that, and like that guy has got it on the guitar, like intuitively, like he can just flow. Yeah. You know, and so
isn't that bizarre for some people? I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah, well, I'm sure, I mean, people look at you and say the same thing. You know, it's like, to have those instincts, it takes time, and then the more time you spend doing anything, I think that you're building the intuition, and kind of answering a question of my own that I've always had, like finding the balance of knowing, is this intuition or is this fear and resistance that I'm feeling?
Yeah. Well, the more you do it and the more mistakes you make, and the more you have to turn around and go back, well, then you find your way better. I mean, think about it. If you're trying to get through the woods and you get lost over and over again, you're not going to go that direction again.
Yeah.
You're going to find your way. And so you just got to, and you say it all the time, I mean, okay, we just failed at something. Something didn't just work out. So how is this going to work for me now? And from those mistakes, you build confidence. And that confidence builds authenticity, which builds attractiveness. So if you just look at it as this is going to work for me somehow, like you say all the time.
Exactly. It's a perspective shift. It's a perception on how we choose to view it, and that
doesn't mean it's not a bummer.
it can be, or it can't be. Like it's if it's happening for me, I have to think this is the best possible thing. It may not align with my agenda. It may not be in accordance with my timeline of what I want to happen. I can't call it good or bad. I don't know. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
That being said, I know if I walk out in front of a bus right now, that's not going to be good.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Like, my mind plays devil's advocate with myself. I'm like, I say this, like, life is happening for me. And I guess, what I'm getting at is, like, if something is out of my control, like, it's in my control whether I walk out in front of that bus or not. Like, it's not going to end good for me, But if it's something that's out of my control, I have to chalk that up as it's the best possible thing that can happen, and that's my perspective that it's happening for me.
Yeah.
Whether that's right or not, I'm not preaching anybody. I'm not saying that that's the right way, but that's how I choose to go through life.
And I think it's important to say to people that you have to remind yourself of that all the time. I mean, just because you're aware of that's how it really works, it doesn't mean that you don't get bummed out and you don't get down on yourself. That is so real.
100%.
And I've learned that people that I look up to a lot that I think have it all together, when I hear them, not that I like to hear them that they get down about themselves. I don't like to hear that. But it does give me confidence that my bummer feelings that I get are real and everybody gets them. But the more you navigate yourself out of those, or you pivot with them, then you're going to get better at that.
Yeah.
So, by saying this is how I do it, it's like this is how you do it because you have situations that you've gotten yourself into that require you to do it. So everybody gets put there, you know.
And going through that stuff, it only makes you stronger. And I don't want to mislead anybody. Like, I think it's important to feel all the feels, feel the good, feel the bad, feel the happy, the sad, the angry. Like, let yourself feel it, and but don't be overwhelmed by any of it. That goes back to Stoic philosophy. Like, don't let any of it overwhelm you.
And I do. I let it overwhelm me a lot. I have to rein myself back in all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's like, can I control it?
Yeah.
No? Why the fuck am I worried about it?
Or it's like, or maybe you can adjust your thoughts about it. Instead of getting upset that these things aren't happening for me, I'll take pride that I'm doing it this way. And that pride, again, creates more confidence. And
the other thing is to remember, and I say this all the time too, it is a journey, right? Like, just because we don't achieve this goal in the time frame we want to, or according to our agenda, what? Like,
it'll all make sense.
What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're still living, like, you're still on this journey of life. Like, there is no destination. Even if you do make it to that destination that you think is you're checking the box, then what?
Yeah.
Then what? Like, it's still, like, you're still going on this journey, And so that's how I try to view it. And, again, I don't know if it's right or not, but nothing is as good or as bad as it seems.
You're right. That's a good one. That's a good one.
We'll go. I'll shift gears, kinda. We'll talk about. I like to ask, like, what is your favorite failure? And what I mean by that is, like, what is something that happened that wasn't according to your agenda that had to happen to launch you for something good? Like,
Gosh, I have to think about that. Because there's a lot of them that are coming to mind, but I'm trying to think about a big one. Well, I think some of my listeners and followers might get a little tired of this story, but I really didn't have any idea that I would be a full-time musician and quit my job at 39. I really had the trajectory of my life in my 20s that I'd be married and have babies and be living, the rancher's wife life. And I was really down on myself for a lot of my 30s, thinking there was something the matter with me having that not happened. And I had it in my head that that's success as a woman. That's what you do as a woman. And you give your love to your man and your family. And I was never acquiring all these things. And I got super down thinking, what is the matter with me? Why am I like this? Why am I unlovable? And I'm being super authentic by talking about this, but and I was just trying to force this lifestyle on myself and I don't know what the change was, but I finally was just like, man, I'm going to quit. I wish I could remember what it was, but I felt like that pivoted, but I was feeling like a huge failure at being a woman and being my parents' daughter.
According to society, right? Like social condition.
Yeah, and it is not that life is a terrible life. That's a beautiful life. And that's the life that my mama has. And she's a queen,
Sure, but there's a projection, like if you don't do this, then you have failed in some way.
Yeah, and or that you still have not done it.
Yeah.
What's the matter with her? She's not married. What's the matter with her then? You know? And so thank goodness my mindset has pivoted away from that definition of a woman, and that you can be feminine and you can be womanly and independent at the same time. And not that I don't get down about it. I get real down about it sometimes. I get real sad sometimes, and I feel real lonely. But it's just keep triggering that brain into, I'm going to take pride in this, and I'm going to. This is the hand that was dealt to me, and I'm going to play that hand really well. And I think that was a huge pivot in my life, and I'm glad it came later. I think I would have screwed it up in my 20s. So if you look at it all as like, well, this is how God laid it out, or this is how it was supposed to be, however you think about it, and then use that into your advantage instead of trying to forcing it. And that's been a huge, what I thought was a failure. And now when I hear women relate to that, it's cool. I wasn't trying to get political about it. Sure. I wasn't trying to be a feminist. I was just trying to navigate my own crap, and when other people can relate to that, it's awesome. It's really cool. Yeah. I didn't think I was speaking for women. I was just trying to find my way to deal with it, you know?
And I think by being open and vulnerable like that, you do reach a number of people, because there's a lot of people that are hiding out because they're scared to admit, what they would consider a flaw, and really it's reality. There's a lot of people feeling the same things.
Yeah, like I touched earlier, when there's people I look to and I see a reality in them that I can relate to, it's like, I feel so much better about my problems. They just become something to deal with.
Exactly.
Not a block.
Yeah.
When I'll open for some bigger names and I'll kind of listen to what they're talking about. And when I hear them bitching about some of the same things I'm bitching about, I was like, oh, it's weird that you're like, it doesn't get any better. And you're excited about that. But you realize, oh, this is not my problem because I'm small beans or because I'm not doing something. This is just a problem. Right. And everybody deals with it no matter where you are on your journey. Yeah. So it just makes you it puts those problems, instead of in front of your face, you just put them in your bag and keep carrying them. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, like, I'll only speak for myself, and I'll tend to get tunnel vision. But then to level up, I may see something someone else does, and I'm like, oh shit, that's possible. So my question is, like, how are you continuing to level up? Who are the people that you may reach out to to help you get to that next level? Because again, like I've gotten to know you over the last few months, and I know you're a person who is constantly wanting to improve.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious to know, like, what steps, what practices are you doing to make that happen?
Well, I've been fortunate as far as songwriting goes. I've been able to write with some people that I think write really, really great songs. The kind of songs that I wish I could write a beautiful folk song like Vincent and Ken, and I don't have that gene I just don't have that. But I can write other kinds of songs, and I've enjoyed co-writing with people that write those kind of songs, and they've taught me. Matt Hillier of 1100 Springs has taught me a lot, and so I look to other co-writes to help me with my songwriting. And as far as like careers, I ask a lot of people for help all the time, and they either don't email me back, or they email me back and I get some help. And what is it, like kind of the power of who or whatever, or your...
Yeah, Matt's reading a book. Isn't that the name of it?
Power of Who.
Yeah.
Yeah, by
Don't ask me, I haven't read the book.
Bob.
Bodine?
That's my cousin. Bob Bodine.
Yeah, that's right.
That's my cousin. Yeah, yeah. And
Bob Bodine, the author.
It's your cousin.
by marriage, yeah, it's my mama's side.
Okay.
He married a cousin of a cousin of a cousin. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily who can I call that can help me, that can do this for me. It's more over like who in my world we are extensions of each other.
Sure.
You know, and there's a lot of people in the world that are willing to extend out for you, and you know, can't wait till I'm in the position where I can help. I can pull up. I feel like I'm constantly asking people to pull me up, and I look forward to the time when I can pull other people up. But
I feel like you already are, though. It's hard to see, right? Like
it's really hard to see. Yeah.
But I think you're already doing that.
Treading, you know, it's like it's like a duck, and on the water. They're just floating underneath.
Paddling their
You know,
ass
and
off.
sometimes it's like one leg, and you're just going in a circle the whole time. You know, and nobody sees it because above you're just feathered and beautiful. You know, but dang, dude.
That's funny, dude. What is some of the worst advice you hear in your industry?
Whoa.
Or have heard in your industry?
Again, I don't think there's any black and white answers to anything, but I see a lot of, you know how you go to little bars and you hear songwriters and singers and you're like, God, these people are really good. How come they're not a huge deal? They're way better than some huge deals that I know, you know? And even though that thought's right or wrong, that's the thought that a lot of people have. It's a real thought. And I think in order to be, as an artist, I think in order to be successful, you have to be business-minded too. Someone once told me, you can be an artist or you can be a business person. You can't be both. And I completely disagree as an artist. I think that you have to be both in order to hit the trajectory that you want. The chances of somebody from Columbia Records walking into whatever bar and thinking you're kick-ass and giving you a record deal is not gonna happen. So if you're up there on stage thinking, I'm just gonna play what I want, screw everybody else, I'm just gonna, you know, that's fine. Do that, but know what you're doing is leaving yourself right where you are. And if you wanna stay where you are, great, then stay where you are. But if you want to have a career that you have a team and there's people that depend on you and you depend on them, you're gonna have to be business-minded with your art. And so, not that you need to sacrifice your art. That's not what I'm talking about. But you have to add another layer to your work if you want to have a career in it.
I get it. How do you separate the two then?
I literally do it with time. Like, but that's me. I have some attention issues, and so I have to really regiment myself. Now, some people, they're phenomenons, and somehow something happens for these people, and they just kind of get plucked and come out, and there they are, and they have this team, and it's working wonderful. But they're able to be more artists because there's people that are running their business. But I guarantee you, everybody that's successful will tell you the business side of what they're doing. It may suck, and all you want to do is write songs, but you still have to do it. I guess me separating it, I kind of enjoy the business side. I like thinking about it, and I get frustrated with it, and I'll just stop and write a song, or play some shows. But yeah, I think that's some pretty crappy advice. I think if you're going to tell yourself you're only going to be an artist, well, then you're going to miss a lot of opportunities that you could have set up for yourself. And I think if you're only going to be a business person, you're going to miss some connections.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be both.
I'm going to flip that now. What is the best advice, other than what you just said? What is the best advice you've heard in your industry?
Keep going. Just keep going. There's so many times that you want to, for whatever reason, there's so many times you just want to forget this. I don't want to try to do this. I don't want to try to push this anymore. It just gets, some days you just want to just forget it all. Mm-hmm. But it's so lame, or so simple, but it's profound. And just keep pushing, keep pivoting, keep pushing. You may have to pivot right back to where you were, but...
And I have to think, like, you're getting that advice from people that have been there, done it, climbed through the trenches and came out on the other side?
Sometimes it happens fast for people. Sometimes it happens slow. Sometimes it's happening and you don't realize it.
Yeah.
And that's another one of those things that you need to be aware and look at what's going on around you. And am I forcing this to happen when if I went this way, it would work? So, yeah, just keep going. But I don't just hear that from people that are more successful than me. This weekend, the drummer said it. It was like, just got to keep going. Like, if there's nobody at your show, all right, well, play a good one, pack it up, go to the next show. Just keep playing, keep going, and but keep being aware and change if you need to change.
Yeah.
What you're willing to change. I love feedback. I want to hear what somebody thinks I'm not doing right, and if I want to change that, I will, and if I don't, I won't.
Right.
Which will lead to where I'm supposed to go. Like if somebody says, well, I don't like, your stuff's too country. Well, ain't changing that,
That's a non-negotiable.
Or like, I think if you did this in your songs, or if you, booked yourself this way, or I want to hear those. Or, I don't like the way she sets up her songs like that. I like feedback. Mm-hmm. To me, somebody going, good job, and they're just doing that to make me feel good, that's hurts my heart worse than, where you messed up. You should have done this and this and this.
Yeah.
I know they're shitting on me.
Yeah.
They're shitting on me, but I can decide I can take that feedback or not.
Where does that balance lie?
The good job is just indifferent.
I ask that question a lot. Like, where does the balance lie between respect and truth?
Well, I'm not going to give advice if it wasn't asked for.
Right.
I probably do, though. Now that I think about it, I probably have made that mistake. But if somebody asks me, I'm not going to be mean to them. You can be kind and deliver it with kindness and respect. And but if somebody asks my opinion, I'm gonna and if I think it's something, if I see it's something they can fix, then heck yeah, help them. Help them out. They may not be aware of something.
Yeah.
So. But it's all in your delivery. If you have an elitist delivery, then you're just an asshole. Don't be an asshole.
Sure.
But I have some people in my life that are honest with me, and
I think you have to have those people in your circle.
Yeah, you got to be ready to receive that.
That too. And
just decide, okay, well, yeah, I can fix that, or no, I don't want to fix that. So how do I make that work for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody comes to you tomorrow and says, Summer, I'm going to give you $100 million. What do you do the next day?
Pay off my credit card. Yeah. Because after I quit my job, my credit score has gone from green to yellow. Golly.
I say 100 million. Really, I would think that'd be an amount where you wouldn't have to work. So you don't have to worry about work or money really ever again. What do you do?
I'd set it up so that my family runs cattle in North Texas. I'd set it up so that my great grandkids can still do that. I don't have kids, so that that generation can do that.
Yeah.
I'd set that up. That'd be a real travesty in my family. That's not a very exciting answer, but that's a big part of my heart.
Well, I think it shows a lot of who you are, and the fact that your first answer was to help set someone else up.
Well, I'm real grateful to have an awareness of the ranching lifestyle, and I wish everybody did. And so, if it means that more people can have that, I don't know. It's one of those things where it feels selfish of me that I love it so much. I want it to keep happening, but yeah, I don't know. That's the first thing I would do. I think is make sure that's all set up. Then I'd probably buy some really punchy rig. I'd buy some punchy rig and enjoy that lifestyle, and maybe get a kick-ass bus.
Tour around.
Yeah.
So music, you'd still be playing music?
Oh yeah. That's what I want to do. Yeah. That's what I love to do. But I think first I'd just make sure everybody that has helped me be okay, and make sure they were okay, and then after that, have fun. That's not a very fun answer. I should have said like what Dolly Parton did and like give millions of dollars to another COVID vaccination or something, but. So maybe it is selfish. Maybe I am being selfish.
You got like the first step in place. Like you could get to some other stuff afterwards. You got a few million to spare,
Have Jeff Bezos take me into space. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be rad.
I don't really have a...
You think you would go? Like you would go to Mars?
I don't know. I don't really think of like, oh, that would be cool. That would be awesome to do. I don't care. But maybe I just hadn't thought about it enough. Would you?
Oh man, I don't like knee-jerk reaction. No.
Because of the danger?
Probably, yeah. But yeah, like what if it was like getting in an airplane?
That surprises me. I've seen you drive. You're pretty dangerous.
What if it was like getting in an airplane though? What if it was that comfortable? I don't know.
Well, just on the Today Show today, Al Roker got in this airplane and they went like way up. They do this like thing when they make this big curve, and for 20 seconds they have no gravity.
Oh, right.
And you float for a little bit. I think it's like $7,500 to do it.
Really?
But you're not going into space. You're just experiencing zero gravity.
Okay. How long does the ride last?
Well, you're only zero gravity for like 20 seconds.
And then you come straight back down?
No, I don't think you come straight back. I think you float back down a little bit. I don't think it's like the cartoons. I think they kind of float back down. Anyway, I digress. I don't think I would pay money to go to space.
Yeah. I don't know. So we always have this rapid fire segment that's brought to you by Ghostwood, and I've actually leaned on you for some of these questions. I'll run some questions by you, and so you probably heard some of these.
Should I stretch first?
You may. Yeah, you may want to
Take
stretch. Yeah, stretch, get a drink. And then we'll get you to play one out.
Okay.
So, these are easy. These are easy questions.
I'm ready.
Okay, what is the best investment you've made in the last 6 months under $100?
That's a good one. The best investment I've made over the last 6 months under $100.
I've told you mine, I think.
What did this thought out?
Wind chimes for me. Wind chimes.
Oh, yeah, especially the ones that actually make a chord. I like those. The ones that don't make a chord, it just bothers me that these notes don't go together. Some of them make an actual chord, and I'm like, oh, it's a C sharp, Under $100 investment. Oh, you know what? Chicken butt. No, you know what? One of them is so many women put a lot of money into their bag, like thousands of dollars on a bag. I've carried the same $50 leather bag for like 7 years now, and it's just a little leather pouch. And people ask me, "Oh, that's so cute, so cute." I'm like, "It's $50, but it's well made and it was leather." I just don't. I'm not really a bag girl. I know that's kind of a weird answer, but it was under $100, and I use it every single day for years.
So that's cool if the question would have been like in the last 7 years, but so what is the best investment?
Golly.
I'm only fucking with you because it's you.
Yeah.
What is the best investment in the last 6 months under $100?
Can it be beans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
My little beans. For those people listening, I don't have a bag of beans that we're talking about. I have a little cat named Beans, and he's funny and he's my little buddy, and I appreciate him. He was free, so it wasn't an investment.
Yeah,
but it was under $100.
There you go. I love it.
Okay.
I'm curious to hear this one. I don't know if we've ever talked about it. What is your favorite Western movie?
Oh, Lonesome Dove. I mean, Tombstone is really sexy because all the mustaches. But yeah, Lonesome Dove is my all-time favorite movie. Anything Larry McMurtry.
Yeah.
And all the Lonesome Doves. I mean, Comanche Moon's really good. It's probably the next one. I mean, the other one's Return of Lonesome Dove and what's it, Dead Man Walking, I think. I didn't enjoy those movies as well as Lonesome Dove or those books.
Yeah.
But I like Comanche Moon and Lonesome Dove. I mean, Lonesome Dove is like the Western Godfather. There's so many quotes in that movie that you live by, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's say you're talking to a stranger and they have something on their face. Do you tell them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to know.
What about if they have something in their teeth?
Yeah.
It's a little more invasive. Really?
Would they rather a small, weird moment and they can fix it within seconds versus go all day and no one ever told them?
Well, I get it. I just find myself hesitating. Like, I don't do it all the time. If it's something on their face, it's a little easier to say, yeah, hey, bud.
I would rather them get mad at me that I told them. And I mean,
I don't think anybody gets mad, but why do I feel the hesitation?
Like, what are you saying? Do I have some in my teeth? and you're not telling me? See, you should tell some.
Like this cord. Like, why didn't you tell me I had this fucking cord hanging out?
You should tell somebody. You know, I think you should tell somebody. Yeah.
You didn't tell me.
Yeah, I tell them.
What's the worst job you've ever had?
It wasn't the worst job, but there were some moments that were pretty nuts. One of my first jobs was a large animal vet clinic, and I really loved it. But there were some moments that were pretty the palpation. Some people would think that was pretty bad, even though that's fun. And then cleaning up after some pretty gruesome little calf breech pools and things like that, and cleaning up those things.
Yeah, but that's not bad.
No, but some people might think that, ew, that's gross. When really, I enjoyed it, but some people might think that's gross.
I'm curious to hear this one from you. What is a song that you wish you wrote?
Oh, yeah, I wish I'd have written 7 Year Ache by Roseanne Cash. Tell me you're trying to cure a 7-year ache. I love that song. I've been doing that in almost every show for years.
Really?
I love that song. And not only is it a great beat and the melody is nice, but the lyrics are incredibly intelligent and very real.
Do you use a set list?
Yeah. Well, yeah. When back in the day when we were doing 3 and 4 hour honky tonk gigs, every time, I just kind of had a master list. I didn't necessarily do them in that order, but I had a master list sitting there just so I can remember what songs we did as a band.
That's wild, dude. You said a 3 or 4 hour gig.
Oh, yeah.
Is that straight through?
No, you take breaks at the top of every hour.
Okay.
So like 3 45-minute sets, kind of how it works out.
I see.
And I don't like to make a set list for those because those aren't about me. Those shows are about the audience and the dancers or the listeners. And if I can tell if they're not feeling a certain kind of song, I can pick up any one and give it to them. If I need to liven up the crowd or if I need to have them listen. But some shows are shorter, and I'll do make a set list for the most part I do, but not all the time.
Yeah.
Some shows it's a different set list too. Some shows it's about my songs, and then some shows it's about the audience.
Yeah.
Just depends.
What about this one? So like in anything, there's always like unwritten rules. Like whether you're on a baseball field or you're at an office or on stage, like what are some unwritten rules that nobody in the crowd knows about, only you know about? Like unwritten rules on stage, unwritten rules in the green room.
Yeah.
Even if like you had to learn them the hard way.
Yeah.
What is like? Give me like one or two.
As a crowd member, I'm gonna look in the camera. Don't ever call out Freebird. Don't do that. It's not funny. It's not funny to us up there. Don't do it. There was one guy, I was opening for Coulter somewhere, and somebody called out Freebird, and I think Coulter said, "There's a special place in hell for you," or something like that. Hated it, And then after, this guy comes up at the merch booth and handed me a $5 bill and said, "Will you give this to Coulter?" And I was like, "I don't think he needs it, but sure." Like I was really going to give it to him. He's totally going to keep it, And he said, I go, "Is there a story behind it?" And he goes, "Well, I'm the guy that hollered Freebird, but my friend dared me $5 to do it. And since Coulter hated it so much, I thought I'd give him the $5. So it ended up being a pretty good story. Yeah. So there, like, there's exceptions to every rule, but don't holler out Freebird. It ain't funny. The band is not laughing at you when you do that. The band thinks you're a complete asshole if you do that.
Yeah.
So that's one little rule for you audience people. What
about on your side?
And then
as a musician,
how I'm rolling. I'm an opener a lot, and you can get real excited about playing these big venues with this big crowd, but I have to remind myself all the time, these people aren't here to see me. These people are here to see this person I'm opening for. And so I think it's important when you're the supporting act you need to mind your own space backstage, be quiet, be easy, and be on time, do everything quickly, clean, get out of the way. Yeah. And when you're easy to work with, they're going to call you back again. So I think that's kind of a rule as a support act. Not that you're not important or anything like that, right. But make sure you kind of keep out of the way.
I love it.
That's one little one, yeah. Don't talk on the phone in the van. Like on this, if we're all in the van and we're driving and you're on the phone and it's like talking to anybody in the whole van, we can't talk because you're on the phone. That's annoying.
I think it's important for those fans of yours that don't know the name of your van.
Vanya Tucker.
Vanya Tucker.
If
you're in Vanya Tucker though, like no cell phone.
Well, no, I'm not there. I mean, there's times when you kind of have to, But if you're just shooting this shit on the phone and we can't like converse because you're talking in a full voice on the phone, it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
But
noise pollution.
But then sometimes it's called for. You got to get sometimes you got to call home real quick or something. But
yeah. I'm going to bring this one back. I used to end the show with this question, but I'm curious to hear yours coming from your background, being around cowboys. What is Summer Dean's definition of a cowboy?
Well, it probably all comes down to a mindset. But I think there's certain things to a cowboy that he understands, and a respect for people around him and for the land that he's got and for the animals that guides the way he thinks about things. I don't think it's necessarily how much you know, but I think there's just a respect and a real connection to the land and the animals, and that's how you make your decisions. And then you are selfless. You give yourself to those things. And like I said earlier, guide your decisions. And I think that's part of what makes somebody a cowboy. And I think because of that love and that respect and that selflessness for the land, you start learning how to be a better steward to your land and animals.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what makes cowboy.
I love it. And that can be cowboy and/or cowgirl.
Yeah, in my head, I was using it as like the understood you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All encompassing.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Last question. If you could have a billboard, metaphorically speaking, to get a message out to millions of people, what does your message say?
The world will respect you as much as you respect yourself. Maybe. Maybe. Or indecisiveness could or couldn't be your biggest weakness. Just kidding.
That's
great. Of all people in the world, I heard Beyonce say that. Like, the world will respect you as much as you respect yourself. And I think it's like, yeah, if you carry yourself the way you want to be seen, you're going to be seen that way.
Yeah.
So, I think that's important.
I love it.
There's probably other good ones too, but that's the first one that popped in my mind.
Well, both of those are two very good ones, though.
I think Willie Nelson said the other one.
I love it. Quotes from Willie Nelson and Beyonce.
Yeah.
Not bad ones.
No way, dude.
What do you think? You want to play one out?
I'll do the one we talked about. I'll do "You're Lucky She's Lonely," the one I wrote with Coulter.
Sweet.
Yeah. So remember, I had this whole other first verse written, but now she's just got a Waylon tattoo. I don't have a Waylon tattoo. A lot of people ask that. It's not me. I'm a heartbroken brunette, but it's not me in the song. Sure, I ain't the only one. I'll get a Waylon tattoo. Would you? Would you get his face?
I'm
or
working on just getting a tattoo. I do want a tattoo. I don't know what I want though.
Maybe not Waylon for
Maybe
your
not
first
Waylon
one.
for the first one.
Yeah.
No.
It's in the key of E if you're keeping up with your bulletins, your scorecards. You're lucky she's lonely, and you're lucky she's blue. I'd place your bet on the heartbroke brunette at the Waylon tattoo. She's a maiden of misery. You don't need a white horse or chivalry. Just make your move. You got nothing to prove. You're just lucky she's blue. Well, you're lucky she's lovesick and nipping along. Well, there's no cure but time for a past love unkind and a busted up home. 'Cause she can see through your charms as you reach for her arm and lead her up to your room. But keep in mind when you do that you're just lucky she's blue. Lucky she's lonely and she don't give a damn. You ought to just walk over and hold out your hand. You can see her left hand, 'cause there once was a band. You're lucky she's lonely and she don't give a damn. You're lucky she's lonely. You're lucky she's blue. That's how it goes.
Hell yeah, buddy.
And then we break down.
I love it.
Thanks.
Thanks for playing one.
Yeah, happy to. I love that song.
Your voice is so pure and beautiful.
Thanks. It's pretty worn out right now. So that's
From the weekend.
Yeah, from a long weekend. But yeah, and a lot of people have listened to that song, and it means a ton. I obsessed over some of those lyrics, so I appreciate that people are liking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love it, and I have loved our conversation today. I appreciate you coming on the show, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet. And where can people find out more about Summer Dean music, the new album?
Just come over.
Just come over.
Yeah, just come over. No, SummerDeanMusic.com is the website, but you can just Google it. Things come up. Sometimes there's videos where I wasn't in the best shape, so just know that not everything's perfect. But yeah, no, I'm everywhere that there's social media. I'm everywhere. I'm all on the things.
All of the places.
Yeah, Summer Dean. My name is not misspelled. It's Summer.
Summer Cheyenne Dean.
Summer Cheyenne Dean.
Right on.
Yeah, that's it.